Yeah. There is
You know?
one book that you've worked on that did come out through Image, and I think it's really important to talk about it. And I love that you did this, which was reprinted or oversaw, reprinted, found creators to do the non-existent second issue of All-Negro Comics. And part of me was thinking, oh my God, how did it take till 2025 for someone to do this?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That was a weird way of like sort of asking a question.
Yeah.
It's like why, what sparked you? I mean, obviously you talk about it being an inspiration once you've just got
Yeah.
almost legendary book, and I think it passed
Hmm.
into. We said
Hmm.
like I didn't know about it until I read Ken Quattro's book.
Yeah.
So what was the process of getting that together?
Yeah. I asked myself for years, how come nobody's done this book? I found out about the book in 2012, 13, 14, somewhere around there. And, I got, and I started the process of like getting the scans cleaned up and like, working towards like some version of a reprint, whatever I would have done there, which is much different than what I ended up doing. But I started that process and then I got, tied up with other work, and I had to put it down for a while, assuming in the time someone's going to do this, someone will have the same realization I had, and it'll come out, and I was fine with that because I just want it to be available, and for people to have access to it, to have awareness of it. And then 10 years went by, or a bunch of years went by, and nobody did anything. So I picked it right back up, and like I had some scans. We remastered them, which is like not quite restoration, because restoration requires like the boards and things like that, stuff that just don't exist anymore. I had a friend of mine, Tony Washington, who's this like incredibly talented colorist, illustrator, multi hyphenate dude. He we came up with like what our version of the pages are, which is like very close to what, we didn't change much of anything. We just wanted it to be, cleaner, have the blacks like really rich and really pop off the page, have the color not be faded, water damaged. A lot of the copies that, or a lot of the copies that exist are kind of, or bad. I just to be, I don't want not to be
No, I
rude
mean,
to.
right, because who would have realized when they bought it, say in 1947,
Yeah.
this is history.
Yeah,
And
totally.
it, there's an interesting viewpoint in it. And I do want to say, by the way, it is one of the best reproductions of a 1940s comic book I've ever seen.
Thank you.
So I really appreciated the work there, but the original editor, whose name is escaping me at the moment, should have had
Orrin
notes,
Orrin Evans.
Orrin Evans, in his foreword to the original book, he says he refers to this as an important piece of journalism.
Hmm.
So, just give me a little bit of viewpoint on that. I found that a really fascinating thing because I don't know how many comics creators think of themselves as journalists.
Sure, sure. I mean, certainly now us, I guess we're even more journalistic at the. But that was his pedigree. He was a very famous journalist of the era who broke the color barrier. Was the first black reporter at the Philadelphia Reporter, I believe, Philadelphia Recorder, I believe. And he's just a fascinating guy on his own. But then he sees the effect that comics have on families, on GIs, like during the war, and he's like, this is a way to get information out to everybody, right? And so that's what he does. So he starts this comic book company, All-Negro Comics Inc., and they do all original characters, and it's truly, it's going against the grain in so many ways of the time in 1947 we're talking about here. Um, I think that unfortunately, because of copyright at the time, it goes it falls into public domain pretty quickly,
Hmm.
and folks, and that's another reason why it's sort of not kept up with and not stewarded, because no one stands to make a ton of money off it. This is truly for like this is like a public good. I think more so than anything. I don't we made money on the Kickstarter, but a lot of that was put right back into printing all the hardcovers and shipping them. So you'd be surprised how quickly that stuff goes. But truly, this is to me it's a public good in terms of like making it available, making it easy to get. Doing the book was great, and we were able to get it to people and donate a lot of copies. But the next step of it was working with Image, who has like that global distribution in terms of
Hmm.
getting it everywhere and also making it super super cheap. Like we did the book and it cost what it cost to make, but there's nothing cheaper than like a nice, a well print. I say it's cheap, but it's just affordable. Probably is the better way to say it.
Cost effective, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Because,
uh,
yeah.
yeah. That it's now pretty much anybody can get it, and it's through Hoopla. So there's just tons of ways that anyone can
Oh,
read this thing.
I absolutely have to reconnect my Hoopla account because I didn't know it was there.
Yeah,
But I kind of said, and then you found these people to do sequels, and then I realized I was looking over at a stack of things I have kickstarted and not yet read, and probably a year ago I backed John Jennings'
yeah.
Lion Man, not
Hmm.
even thinking that that had any connection to this, and so I read that some of that last night too to go, oh,
Oh,
because they
cool.
are public domain, and this is his
Hmm.
revisiting of it, so
Yeah.
it's heavy on my mind this month, to say like, okay, but anybody can. I really
Hmm.
appreciated whoever uh, did the due dillies, because to anybody watching this, like a lot of comics of the 40s, the features are very different.
Yeah.
There are comedy pieces. There is literally the due dillies for children. It's a little tough to follow in the original, but the second story absolutely has like a moral, and it feels like that's probably what was intended originally for
Yeah.
them. But who can
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. I think like it is a little loose, the first one, but I think if you in based on the captions and like I think that's what they were going for. It was they're these cherubic characters who only children can see, so it's meant to uh, um, you know calm and soothe kids. I think so. That's what we want to go for, and we did in the updating, not really updating, but in the trying to make it like timeless, we went for like an anime sort of a
Hmm.
manga inspired look that I think a lot of kids would find. More kids are more exposed to that today than anything anyway. So that was
I think you can
nice.
see that they're updated, but you see the connection to the original,
Mm-hmm.
not just to the due dillies. But I really appreciated the fashion,
Mm-hmm.
single panel jokes that you continued that feature,
Yeah,
and that was just I don't know. I loved everything about that second issue, if you will.
well,
So,
thank you.
do you have intention? Although that must have been such a pain, an effort to lift this. Do you have an intention of trying a third?
Not at this time. I I sometimes I get the itch, and a lot of people ask me online at cons like there is interest. It's sort of I'm not surprised, but I don't know, surprised, I guess, that people want to see more. So there's definitely interest out there in the world. Me personally, like, it becomes a question of like, well, when would I stop, or like when does what I mean? Like, what
Right.
is that the most valuable way to uh, um, spread the word about these characters. You know what I mean? Because that's what I remind myself is the mission, right? Because I have, we just talked about Werewolf Frankenstein, and I have other things that I do. So I have outlets to tell story, right? Um, uh, to me, this project is more of like the public good, the like keeping the flame of like knowledge rather than using these characters, having these characters become outlets. Now that's me. You mentioned John Jennings' project, which is awesome. There are other folks who I see posting, Ace Harlem stories that detective stories that they're working
Oh,
on, and uh, um, I think if people want to do stuff with these characters, they're just like Frankenstein and the Wolfman and all these other characters. Like you are able to go and do these your versions of these characters. To me, I think what you're more likely to see soon, hopefully sooner rather than later, if I depending on all things considered, is like taking this information and taking the book and trying to get it into other formats that books can't reach people.
Hmm.
So we are working on little animations of the stories, and we're working on larger books that are more nonfiction in nature, that type of thing, documentaries, just trying to get to people in other ways.
I could see a documentary would be a really valuable thing to get done, and I would have
Yeah,
no idea how to approach that. So, all right, well, thank you for being a fun creator, and now historian, editor as well. And keeping the flame alive of comics in general. So uh, thank you. And once again, people, you can find. I guess it's werewolffrankenstein.com
yeah,
is the website. People can get the books there or at a convention that you're appearing at. And you still have some copies, obviously, because I got some. So
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
good.
catch me at conventions, or feel free, if you're in SoCal, there's probably a shop near you that has it. Or if you catch me online, let me know what your shop is, and I'll get in touch with them, and try to work something out, because I would like more people to be able to have access to it, but it's going to be it's going to be very grassroots for the time being.
Well, that's the way it works. All right. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for making some time, and I hope we run into each other again soon.
Thank you.